tired of screwing up, tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.
Eminent Waste of Time, Episode 8. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And I am also Chad.
I was going to say, we are joined today by a second Chad for your viewing and listening pleasure. We are up here, as promised, at Harold Zeigler Motorsports up in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and they have a phenomenal facility. We've been here for about an hour. We've gotten the grand tour of the whole facility, and I'm telling you, folks, you can't really grasp the scope of it until you come up here. We've taken pictures. We'll post all that kind of stuff. We're even going to do some Facebook Live stuff before we get out of here just to give you a sense of it. But it's like going to Cabela's or Bass Pro or someplace like that, but it's all motorsports. It's all ATVs and UTVs and dirt bikes and Indian motorcycles and helmets and accessories. It is absolutely amazing, and we are really, really privileged to be up here today. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring our surrogate Chad for the day in. And Chad, tell us a little bit about just what you do here, what your position is, and how you found yourself here at the store.
So yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for making the trip down from Indianapolis and coming to see us and letting us show you around our facility here. What we do here is obviously motorsports. That's the passion of every person that works in this building. We love to do this. This is what we do. It's our hobby. It's our job. It all blends together. This is where we enjoy ourselves. I found myself here. I was previously running a Harley-Davidson dealership and found myself talking to Aaron and figured that this was the place to be. This is an industry that I've loved for a long time. It just made sense. Zeigler Motorsports, we employ about 63 people here. It's been excellent. I find myself at home every morning I walk through the door.
Outstanding. Well, hey, and I misspoke earlier. This is not Harold Zeigler Motorsports. It's just Zeigler. The Zeigler Group, though, if you don't know, is one of the largest automotive chains in the United States in terms of dealerships. So the family has a big history, and Aaron Zeigler is actually the one who started this store and this incredible facility. Right now, we're actually sitting in their upstairs conference room. The name of it's
This is the Elevate Room.
The Elevate Room, which gives you a beautiful overlook of the showroom floor. And they've made space for us up here to be up here and do the podcast today. Behind us, you can see some of the pictures of it. That's us this morning, actually. Yeah. That's some of the writing we did before we went on the... No, not at all. Unfortunately, we got to get a little sniff of the track that they have out just across the street, but because of weather conditions, we could not get out on it. There is feet of standing water in some spots. It's just a big muddy mess, and we were not able to get out there. But we got to go close to it, see it, kind of get a sense of what it is. And that's really one of the things I think that makes this stand apart from most dealerships, other than just the scope of what you're doing, is the track you have here. So give us a little idea. What do you guys do with that space?
Yeah, certainly. We so every Tuesday night and every Saturday during the day, we have usually 50, 60, 75 people come out and ride their motorcycles on our facility. It's a wonderful. There's not a ton of places that offer that in our area, so that's kind of where we stand out in the crowd and offer it up to people that enjoy this industry like we do.
Outstanding. So if somebody was interested in buying a side-by-side or an ATV, UTV, something along those lines, can they actually go out there and get a feel for what they're buying before they lay down, in some cases, $25,000, $30,000?
They certainly can. That's what the purpose of it's for, and that's the nice part about it.
Now, I know you guys, you host some events. You know, it's basically like a really awesome version of a high ropes course. You know, people can come here, use the conference facility, and then go out there and have a go in a side-by-side that maybe they're not even equipped to handle, but they can have some fun out there.
It happens.
Have you had any good spills out there?
We've had a couple good spills out there, yes, which, is unfortunate, but it's part of the industry, as we all know. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah, they don't quite drive like a car, so if you're not used to it, you can find yourself in some trouble in a hurry. We've actually, was that the second time the CF Moto was totaled?
Yes.
A friend of yours?
Yes, I let a friend take it out. He asked if he could drive it, and He claims he was going 6 miles an hour when he turned. It had to be significantly faster than that because it went over at least 1.5 times that I know of.
Right. We've all heard that story.
Yeah. So, that was a total cage rebuild, and that was everything. Just start again. Doesn't matter. And yeah. At that point, just make it a race buggy. It doesn't matter. We're going to keep wiping it out.
Good choice.
It's not pretty anymore, but it runs, and that's what you need to get around the track.
Yes, you do.
Well, no, it's been a real pleasure being here. Give us a few just kind of facts about the building, kind of give people a sense of the scope of the operation here.
Yeah, so the facility we're at right now is 6 months old. We opened this store up 6 months ago. We have almost outgrown it at this point. Our sales staff.
Seriously, you guys are already running out of room?
We've already run out of room. Unit sales is excellent here. We do just about 175 units a month out of this store. We, parts and accessories sales, service, with the Elevate room being up here, the track out there. It's a busy place around here. 84,000 square feet of building space. We're building, as we saw out back, another 12,500 square foot building right now just to house units.
Yeah, I think I talked to a gentleman earlier who was showing us around. He said you have something like 60 or 70 side-by-sides outside that you just don't even have room for right now.
That are not built, waiting to be built, and come on the showroom floor.
That's probably most of our viewers out there, most of our listeners, that's probably more units than your entire dealership has. And these are in crates just waiting to be built in addition to everything else they already have here. I also took some pictures of their used area that I took one particular picture to try and give you guys a sense of the scope. It just keeps going on forever. And it's not just floor space, it's racks. They have UTVs stacked 3 high on the walls on racks. I mean, they have a ton of inventory here. If you come up here and you're not finding what you're looking for, then you're either looking for something really crazy or I don't know.
Extremely picky.
Yeah,
Extremely picky.
I can't imagine they don't have what you need. It's worth the drive up here just to see the place. You've also got the tap house right there, so there's a restaurant on site. So it really is an experience. You can come here, wander around, get lost looking at machines that you wish you could have or dream about, and then get hungry, head on over, have a meal, and it's kind of a destination spot, it seems like.
It's exactly what we planned it to be, is to be a motorsports destination. The Cabela's of motorsports was brought up several times when this was being created. So yeah, the tap house is there. It's excellent. We have just over 1,350 units in stock right now.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, the plan is to for every consumer out there to be able to find in one spot everything that they need.
Yeah. Now, what really I think sets you guys apart, at least in my mind, so if I'm in the market for buying a new anything, dirt bike, side-by-side, quad, whatever I'm looking at, it is an extremely rare thing to have the track where I can, well, first of all, if I'm coming and I'm driving, like we were talking about earlier, people will drive to save some money on a side-by-side.
They certainly will.
You guys being the size that you are, I'm sure you're able to, be very competitive in the market as it is. So you're already got a leg up on everybody there. And then you have the track where me, as we'll say the father of the family that's coming to look and buy one, I can go test it. I can see exactly what I'm getting before I make that purchase and work with you guys on that. And then the wife and kids can get something to eat while waiting and everything else. It really makes it from me coming to get a side-by-side or something like that at a dealership where I would just go to a normal dealership where I can take my whole family and my family has something to do while I'm looking at the purchase, and they can look at it too, but, as me, I'm going to look at it for an hour. Them, they're going to look at it 10 minutes. And it gives them a chance to have something to do and not just be like, come on.
Right. Come on, Dad, hurry up.
Yeah.
That's not what we want. And there's several things for children, families, everybody involved in the process of all of this to do. While there's families that walk through the door still today that have been here 3 times and their jaws drop when they hit the floor, or when they walk through the doors and see the sales floor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the building itself.
Well, and some of the things that stood out to me, the attention to detail when you guys built this place, the service bay is unlike anything I've seen. Usually when you pull up to a motorsports shop, you kind of pull your trailer around the back and somebody comes over and helps you yank your machine off the trailer onto the blacktop, and then they kind of shuffle it inside through an overhead door.
There's a garage door, and that's it. Yeah.
You guys actually have like a full service bay like you'd find at a high-end car dealership.
Yes.
You pull through, it's heated, somebody's there to help you. If it's a big enough machine, grab a forklift, pull it off, take it back into the service area. You guys really seem to pay attention to detail, all steps through.
And that kind of comes from it certainly does come from the car side of things with, the whole auto group and now motorsports, being able of a full service drive through out of the elements, unload your machine, have it serviced. And let's face it, I mean, these things are for pleasure. They're for, anything you could want them to be for. And that's the last thing we need our customers to worry about is unloading their machines out in the weather to get it the oil changed on it.
Well, and they're a high dollar investment in some cases. I've seen countless examples of people who have more money in their side by side than they have in the truck and the trailer that's pulling it.
That are pulling it. Yes,
it's their baby, so they want that. They want to be treated well. They want to know their machine's taken care of, and this place just exudes that we are going to do it the right way.
Absolutely.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about some of the brands that you guys carry? As far as I know you guys have a rotating stock based on the time of year that it is because of the region that you are in. But tell us a little bit about some of the brands that you carry and what your big sellers are. And
yeah, we have 15 manufacturers that we carry here, so there's not a lot of consumers that aren't finding the brand here that they're looking for. Can-Am, Polaris, Easy Go golf carts, Textron, Articat, Skidoo. We have it all right here.
Yamahas. I saw
Hondas,
a big Yamaha display there.
Kawasaki's.
There's a big YXZ sitting right outside the window over there that we can see the top of the roll cage.
Yes, there is. This time of year, you'll walk through our dealership or walk into our dealership, and ATVs, side by sides, snowmobiles, youth quads, youth snowmobiles. That's what you'll see this time of year in our facility.
And then come spring, do you guys rotate out for different seasonal stock, I assume?
Yeah, certainly. Whatever appeases to the customers. Motorcycles in the summer and into the fall. Michigan motorcycling, in the fall is excellent.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one thing about where you're positioned because of the change of seasons here. You get a little bit of everything. So like right now, there's a bunch of snow machines starting to take up room in the showroom floor because we are heading towards that season. Even down where we're, a little south of Indianapolis, there's not really a huge call for those because of the weather. But you're really in the perfect spot where if somebody was interested in doing that, getting into that, I mean, they can come up here and it's only a few hours away and you're right in the heart of the snow belt.
Yes,
they get an opportunity to find a bunch of different brands of them too, not just one or two. I mean, you've got a ton of them down there.
Yes, we do.
So
yeah, we're fortunate. Being close to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, being in Michigan itself, and being on Lake Michigan here.
Yeah,
getting the lake effect snow.
So you yourself ride, I hear.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Tell us a little bit about what you ride.
So I have a utility quad now, a Sportsman, Polaris Sportsman. I've had a Razor 1000 XP, loved it. It just was not fitting my needs for my 2-year-old daughter as my passenger.
I was going to say, so why isn't here anymore?
Yeah, that's right. That's the only reason. Doing
Yeah.
yard work is a lot easier on a 4-wheel drive ATV than a performance Razor.
Do you find that most of the employees here are, ride or have some sort of interest as well?
Absolutely, and that's what makes it so fun. Like I said earlier, is the 60 people that are employed here are passionate about the sport. They enjoy the sport. It's what they do on the weekends when they're not here working. There's it's not hard to wake up in the morning and come to do this for work.
Yeah.
Okay, so the real question is, do you guys ever have employee races out there on the track?
We absolutely do. We have employee fun days, and we go out and tear it up.
All right, second question, are you hiring? No.
Absolutely. Always looking for good help.
Okay,
Well, Chad, that counts us out. That's not going to happen.
So, what's your favorite place to ride that you've been so far?
Myself, I love to be. I like trail riding. The dunes are a lot of fun. I personally enjoy trail riding. We spend a lot of time up in Irons, Michigan, riding the trail systems that are up through there. We have a place in Irons, so have a place to lodge out for the weekend, and we really, really enjoy it.
That's nice.
My family, friends, we all go.
I've heard a lot about Michigan's trail systems. I haven't been on them too much. I mean, dunes mainly out at Silver Lake, but I've heard that they're well maintained and well kept as far as the state-owned stuff anyway.
Definitely. That's the nice thing about it is they have groomers come through there. They have they have Facebook pages and different stuff like that you can check on before you drive 3-4 hours up there. Make sure everything's good, snow levels.
So what you're telling me is if we come up here to buy a new side-by-side or whatever, we can just pick it up and go ride the nice Michigan trails, and it can be like this whole week of fun and awesomeness.
It's more than just a couple hours of excitement, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's always neat. So what would be your dream destination of riding if you could go anywhere? We'll say money's no object, you don't have to pay for it, someone's footing the bill. Where would you go?
I think Glamis would be exciting. A lot of dunes. I don't know the exact acreage of dunes they have out there in California, but Glamis would be excellent.
Yeah, that looks like another one of those bucket list check-off things that you go out there for one of the big events and just you could see everything that ever rode on the sand out there.
Exactly, and a lot of the manufacturers do testing out there as well, so... and we talked earlier about you guys going to the Hatfield and McCoy trails out in West Virginia. That's another thing that would certainly be on the bucket list.
Yeah, that is a truly neat place to ride. Hatfield McCoy is another one that they do groom the trails and all that stuff also. But then you have the outlaw trails out there, and I don't know how much you know about those. It's basically the same thing, but they didn't want to be sanctioned by the state, so it's just their own trails. Now, they can get rough and rocky, and they don't put guardrails next to the 500-foot cliffs. They're relying on you not to drive
not
off
to
of
go
it.
over
Please
it.
don't drive off the cliff.
Yeah.
But if you do, it's on you.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a less or unregulated. I'll say it's not less; it's unregulated, but also a fun place. And there's no maps for that. But yeah, Hatfield McCoy. If you ever get to go out there, the scenery's beautiful and the trails are just amazing, and it's another destination spot to go to. So.
Absolutely, it's not like riding go-karts at the local racetrack.
No,
there's no walls on the side.
Our buddy Rob Griffin from TGM Off-Road just did a big ride at Ride Royal Blue down in Tennessee, and that also looks like a really neat spot to visit at some point.
Yeah, Ride Royal Blue. There's a few down there in Kentucky and Tennessee that I'd like to hit too. But like we've talked about on previous podcasts, I've ridden terrain like that before, so it's not as high up on my list right now.
Moab is, I've been by it. I want to be to it.
Yeah, I want to
that's
ride Moab.
definitely a place that I would like to be because it's a totally different type of riding. There's very easy stuff if you just want to cruise around in the desert, and there's extremely challenging stuff. All you have to do is go to YouTube, and you can find plenty of examples of people who have more machine than sense or driving skill.
Right. And you get out there in Moab, and from guys I've talked to that have ridden out there or live out in that area, traction is not the problem anymore like it is around here where, we get in the dirt and the mud, and we have clay and sand around this area a lot. And you have to have tires, and you're always slipping tires constantly. There, traction is not the problem. I mean, you can just flip it over backwards if you stand on it because you have so much traction.
Right.
So it's a completely different style of riding and different different throttle control and everything else. Whereas here, you can almost stand on it all the time. You might go into a corner too fast and blow through it, but there it's different. It's the same as dune riding is way different. I mean, it's more of a flow in dune riding than it is anywhere else.
Yeah. One of my favorite Moab stories was a guy I ended up becoming friends with by the end of the whole thing. He was the one who re-geared a Dodge Ram I used to have, and he has a really nice built Jeep, and he's in his early 70s now and still goes out to Moab
Wonderful.
at least once a year, loves to go wheeling, and just is a wealth of knowledge about where to put your tires and how to do it. And he was giving me a prime example of coming down, I believe it was the coal chute, if I'm remembering properly, but there's a very, very, very steep spot. And he says, it seems counterintuitive, but the way you want to come down it is to drop your I think it's your right wheel in first and then the left wheel and let it kind of shimmy down and then pull down off of it. You don't want to dunk both front wheels down at the same time. And so that's exactly how he went down it, drove right down it, and, you know, showed his usual skill in driving. He had the whole thing on video. And then he shows another video of a guy coming down after him, and his friend's like, nope, just come right down and dunk both wheels down. You'll be fine. Drops those front wheels down, doesn't end over, rolls the Jeep.
Yep. There's certainly an art to the sport.
Yeah. A lot of people think, oh, it's just driving around. I'm like, no, there's a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of skill. And if you don't believe it, you'll be on your roof before you know what happened.
If you want to keep your machines in one piece, you gotta be smart about it.
Yeah. Either be smart or be rich.
That's right. That's right.
Like I always say, if you're going to be dumb, you'd better be tough.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've only been open for 6 months, but obviously this place has been a big success. Are there any rumors in the work that you're wanting to duplicate this maybe in a different region?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what talk's been, talked about that right now. I mean, this
is still new.
Everyone's still
soaking
new.
it in,
Yeah, we're trying to figure this out still.
But you got a great thing going here, so I could see this possibly becoming its own, chain, just like you've got the Zeigler group as a whole has numerous auto dealerships. I could see something like this spreading out into other regions easily. It's a great destination, a great place to come to, and like I said, you're also getting a deal on the machine, whatever it is you're looking to buy, whether it's a dirt bike, side by side, utility or sport, or an ATV, or I mean, like I said, we've got Indian motorcycles here. It runs the full gamut, and
there's even the 3-wheeled Polaris. Is it the Slingshot? Is that?
Yeah.
Yep.
So yes, we're a Slingshot. We're a Slingshot dealer. We're an Indian motorcycle dealer, Polaris. And we also carry Timber Sled. I don't know how familiar you guys are with Timber Sled.
That's where they convert the dirt bike to the
and put a track and ski system on it. Yes, you do. And then take that off in the summer and ride or race your dirt bike.
It's a straight conversion. Like basically any dirt bike can do it. Is that
most? Yes. I mean, there's different
the major manufacturers anyway.
Yes, correct. Yes. There's different fit kits, different bearings, and it's pretty simple. It's about a 3-hour task to change it out. Which isn't
impressive.
Bad. It is.
I'm curious how those ride, because having been on a dirt bike, I mean, your tire is, just a few inches wide on a dirt bike, and then the track on them, they're reasonably wide. What are they?
They're 10, 12 inches wide, and the ski matches that.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that changes the handling characteristics, feeling of that dirt bike.
I've never been on one.
I'm sure it
maybe this winter.
That sounds like an expedition we need to do now. These are questions that need to be answered.
We can make another trip if they'll let us.
I was going to say, I don't think we've ticked them off too bad yet.
Not yet.
They haven't booted us. Yeah, there's still time, folks. There's still time. So like I said, we've got a lot of other things on the calendar coming up as well. We actually are going to the
PRI.
The PRI show. Thank you.
Go.
Brain. That's why you're here. You catch me when I fall. We're going to the PRI show in Indianapolis, which is the Performance Racing Industries show that's coming up. And that's obviously more around the racing industry and what's happening there. But we've got that as a destination that we're going to be doing. And we got a couple other things up our sleeve as well. But we're fast getting into winter here, so we're probably going to have to cool our jets
or head south.
Or head
south.
We could do that. Didn't we get invited on a hog hunt or something along those lines?
We did, and Texas is warmer, and I have enough vacation time at work. Well, I'm out.
We might have to have another destination.
Jump in the truck and go.
Yep,
absolutely.
So no, it's getting to the time of year where everyone's starting to wrap down the side by side and ATV riding, and if they're this far north, they're picking up their sleds and going that route with them. But
so one other question I was curious about, you guys, obviously we weren't able to do the track closing event today. Do you have kind of a grand opening ceremony type of thing that you're planning for the spring? Because we might be interested in coming back up if we want to see this thing. We're desperate.
The date is to be determined, but yes, absolutely. This is it's a big deal to our part of the industry, to our facility, the motocross track and trail systems and everything that's out there. So yes, certainly date to be determined, but we will have a spring bash of some sort.
And we'll keep you guys updated on that. I'm sure we're going to keep in touch with Zeigler Motorsports here. And, of course, you can find you guys on the web at
ZeiglerMotorsports.com.
All right, that's easy enough.
Yep.
Chad's getting kind of desperate to ride in an X3.
Yeah. If I happen to go out there and the keys are in it,
You know,
I don't know.
We might just have one out there.
there was a bit of a single tear when he found out it wasn't going to happen today.
Yeah, I was upset. The funny thing is, so we had talked about, contacting Zeigler about getting in here and talking to them. And initially, this was kind of what we were wanting to do. We just wanted to, hey, we'll set up, have a podcast, and we'll interview one of your sales guys or whoever you got for us to talk to. And, we were thrilled when they said yes. And then they brought up there's a track closing ceremony thing and all this, and we got all excited, and then it's like the wind got let out of my sails. My little balloon got deflated, and I was the kid standing there
our
with the
excitement was
string.
like at an 8, and then it was up to an 11, and now it's back down to an 8, which is what we expected.
But I was at 11.
The weather in Michigan had a lot to do with that.
I know.
As it typically does, unfortunately.
It's been an ugly fall. I mean, this is a off-road podcast, not a farming one, but we're still in Indiana. We're way behind on most harvest right now. It's just been wet and
It's
miserable,
wet.
and
A
there's
lot of rain.
Yeah, there's just no good way to get around it right now.
Yeah, we have a race scheduled for next weekend, and we're about the same weather you guys are getting right now, slightly warmer. But unless the weather really changes, it's going to be a mud fest, and it's going to be cold.
It's not going to be a whole lot of fun.
No. It's going to be one of those, like, you bundle up and you just prepare to be miserable because that's what you're going to get. I mean,
The nice thing about it is, though, they won't cancel it just because of the weather.
Oh, no.
So you go out and you deal with what there is to be dealt with and get after it.
Well,
Yeah.
and it is interesting. It's kind of the great equalizer in a way because everyone is racing the same track, and I always find it interesting. I do the race call as well, so I'm the race announcer, and I'm doing live call of the race. I'm dismissing the rows, doing the 10-second call, the whole 9.
Yep.
And it's interesting to watch different riders that I've come to know who does well in what type of situation.
Conditions, right.
So I can almost tell you by the conditions, normally so-and-so does really well, but today is going to be this guy's day. I can tell just because it's muddy or it's really dry, or the last race we had, it was the first time we had used that particular piece of property, and a lot of the track was just wide open. So all the guys that were on the big Yamaha 450s were just open. They were just gone. And
Right.
you could tell who was going to come in front, and the guys that normally are competitive with him just didn't have enough gas to keep up with him in the field.
Different
So-
terrains equals different results.
And so it's interesting because everyone does get the same track, but every track tends to favor a different riding style. So it really is an interesting sport. It's you play the hand you're dealt, and you do the best you can, and regardless of what the weather conditions are, like you said, you go out there and play. It's not like Indy racing where if there's rain, you just pack it up and you're done for the day.
It's not going to be canceled.
No.
Yeah, and we try and set up the machine as best we can for the track conditions, but we have yet to be in mud since we've cut and grooved the tires the way we did to try and to fill you in a little bit, other Chad, not me. The tires we were running were great tires. They were the ITP Baja Cross, and they did good. But the problem is the tread blocks were so large that they weren't flexing as well as I wanted, and they would skate up on top of the mud and the wet. So in the dry hard pack, they did amazing, as you can imagine, because the Baja Cross, it's kind of a tire for the dry.
Right.
And we bought them kind of thinking, okay, majority of our racing season is in the middle of the summer. There's going to be probably 75% of our races should be in the dry season. We just didn't have that this year. So we started cutting and grooving our tires to let those tread blocks open up and walk a little bit better. So we'll see how they really do in the mud, I think, next weekend.
We're going to find out.
That's right.
Yeah.
One of two things is going to happen.
Oh, something's going to happen, I can promise. I don't know what the something is. I mean, I hope they grip a little bit better. I hope, because the problem was in the corners, they would skate really bad. I mean, they just stand up on those tread blocks and slide a little bit and push through the corner more than I wanted. I hope we get some bite, and we'll see how we do. We'll get it out there and run it, and if we wreck it, I got like all winter to rebuild
I was going to say,
again.
that's
That's right.
the last race. I don't mind trashing your buggy on the last race.
Thank you.
Well, and the cool thing, another cool factor of the motorsports industry itself is, every lap around every different track you've ever been to is not the same the next lap. It always changes. It's not a concrete base. It's,
Yep.
this is dirt and clay and sand, and it moves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So no 2 laps are alike.
The biggest change I find is when you're doing the creek crossings, because especially with the side-by-sides, they carry a ton of water up out of that creek onto the shore on the other side, and then they're on the throttle and they're spinning dirt back. And
Yes.
so the first lap may be good, and the second lap is starting to go away a little bit, and by the time you get to the last lap, it's almost impassable for the smaller machines. The thousands and the 1,000 turbos can get through, but we race a light class, an 800cc machine.
Okay.
And we don't have the suspension travel either, and it's tough to get through sometimes.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
we've been high centered on the mud before.
Yeah. No rocks, just mud, and there's a foot of space underneath your tire closest to the ground, and it can get rough. I mean, it's fun. It's all an adventure and everything else. But
That's where you have good belly plates, and you basically get as much momentum as you
Slide
can, and you
through
just
it.
canoe right
Yeah.
on over it and hope for the best.
we designed the skid plates and built them for us that it is one long piece of heavy aluminum so that we can literally do that, because I prefer to ride low in a side-by-side on the suspension, and I'll let the belly plate take the beating. And it hasn't dented or anything yet. It's held up really well for us. But that way we're more stable in high-speed corners, because you set them up and all of a sudden you hook a tire on that outside suspension that's compressed and you start rolling that, you're going to wish you hadn't.
Yes, you are.
All right. Well, hey, Chads, we're getting close on time here, but I definitely want to say a huge thank you to Zeigler Motorsports for having us up here today. Thank you so much for making your facility available. You guys have been nothing but hospitable, and I get the feeling it's not just because we're doing a podcast here. That's just how you treat everybody that comes through the door.
This is a wonderful place to be, and it's the atmosphere, the people that we have working here. It's a positive, energied place, and we appreciate you guys making the trip up and coming up to see us and giving us your time.
All right. Hey, not a problem at all. Once again, where can they find you on the web?
ZeiglerMotorsports.com.
All right. We also want to say a huge thank you to our sponsors, as always. Thank you so much, Watch Communications, for giving us the web space for our website and to host this podcast. Colby Valve Stems for your support this season. Also want to say thank you to utv-doors.com for, again, your support and for the parts you've given us for the racing season. And last, but of course not least, TGM Off-Road. Rob, thank you so much for your support this season and for keeping us from becoming completely financially destitute, only partially. Again, folks, we got a lot of podcasts in the hopper. The PRI show is coming up in just a few weeks. Thanksgiving is coming up, so we'll have some sort of turkey cast, I'm sure. But
I'm down.
yeah, it's going to
What
be
could go wrong?
Exactly. Food and podcasting, the two seem like natural bedfellows.
Yes.
But thank you all for coming out one more time. We got a lot of stuff coming up, so stay tuned. And in the meantime, thanks for riding along.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Tired of going down, I'm tired of myself, I'm tired of this town.
D